You survived.
Because you saved me.
Then we were never strangers.
The dust of Kepler, 442b, swirled around my boots as I walked through the settlement's Easter market. 3 years I'd been on this godforsaken colony world, trading supplies and keeping my head down. The twin suns beat mercilessly overhead, casting everything in shades of orange and gold. I wasn't looking for trouble that day. Never was. But trouble had a way of finding me. The crowd ahead had gathered in an unusual formation, a half-circle of bodies, all facing the same direction. Curiosity pulled me forward, though experience told me to walk away. I pushed through the mass of colonists, merchants, and off-worlders until I saw what held their attention. 3 figures hung upside down from a metal crossbeam, their ankles shackled in chains. They were humanoid but distinctly alien, skin the color of deep ocean water, marked with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed faintly even in the harsh daylight. Their long hair, ranging from silver to gold to bronze, hung toward the ground in curtains that swayed with each slight movement. Fresh merchandise, barked the slaver, a grizzled human with cybernetic eyes that glowed an unsettling red. Athelian females, prime condition. Strong workers, they are. Don't need much water, can survive on minimal rations. Perfect for the mining operations up north. My jaw clenched. Slavery had been outlawed in the core systems for decades, but out here on the rim, laws were suggestions at best. I started to turn away. I'd seen this before, and there was nothing one man could do against the syndicates that ran these operations. Then the middle one raised her head. Even upside down, even with her face flushed from the blood pooling in her head, I recognized something. She looked directly at me with eyes that seemed to hold entire galaxies. But it wasn't her eyes that froze me in place. It was her forearm, a tattoo wound around her left wrist. A complex geometric pattern in deep indigo ink that seemed to shift and move as I stared. My heart hammered against my ribs. I knew that symbol. I'd seen it before, 6 years ago, on a different planet, in a different life. The memory crashed over me like a wave. I'd been part of a research expedition on Tau Ceti III, studying ancient ruins. We'd triggered something, some kind of automated defense system left by a long-dead civilization. The temple had come alive with deadly precision, sealing exits, releasing toxic gas. My team had scattered in panic. I'd been separated, trapped in a chamber with the walls closing in. The gas had burned my lungs, blurred my vision. I collapsed, certain I was breathing my last breaths. Then she'd appeared, a figure in blue, marked with glowing patterns. An Athelian, though I hadn't known their species name then. She'd worn an environmental suit, but moved through the gas, as if immune. On her wrist had been that same tattoo. She dragged me to safety, found an air pocket, kept me alive until the rescue team arrived. I tried to thank her, to ask her name, but she'd simply pressed her palm to my forehead, a gesture I'd later learned meant, "Your life is your own," in her culture, and disappeared into the ruins. I'd searched for her afterward, of course. Asked everyone, sent messages, hired trackers. But the Athelians were nomadic, scattered across a dozen systems, and without a name, without knowing which clan she belonged to, I'd had no chance. And now, 6 years later, here she was, or someone who bore the same mark. Stop! The word tore from my throat before I could think. I'll buy them. The slaver's head snapped toward me, those mechanical eyes whirring as they focused. All three. I confirmed, my mind racing to calculate if I had enough credits. The answer was no, I didn't. Not even close. But I'd figure something out. 50,000 credits, the slaver said, his mouth splitting into a grin that showed several gold teeth. Each, the crowd murmured. That was triple the going rate, and he knew it. He'd read my desperation, seen it written plainly on my face. 30,000 each. I countered, trying to steady my voice. And that's generous for workers you've probably starved half to death. The slaver's grin widened. 60,000 each. Price just went up for wasting my time. The three Athelian women had all raised their heads now, watching this exchange with expressions I couldn't read. The one with the tattoo, she tilted her head slightly, and I saw recognition flash in her eyes. She remembered me. Fine, I said, my voice hoarse. But I need to make arrangements. I don't carry that kind of credit on me. Then you don't buy them. The slaver turned back to the crowd. Anyone else? Going once. Wait. I fumbled for my data pad, my fingers clumsy. I pulled up my account. 3 years of savings, every credit I'd scraped together from trading and odd jobs. 90,000 total. Not enough for all three, but maybe, just maybe, I thought of the cargo ship I'd been saving for, the ticket off this dustball. I thought of a new life I'd been planning, somewhere civilized, somewhere safe. Then I looked at those three faces at the tattoo on that wrist, and I made my choice. 90,000 for all three, and I throw my desert hauler. Modified engine, reinforced hull, worth at least 50,000 on its own. Take it or leave it. The slaver studied me with those mechanical eyes. I could almost hear the calculations running behind them, weighing profit margins and opportunity costs. Let me see this hauler. 20 minutes later, the deal was done. The slaver had my hauler, most of my credits, and a satisfied smirk. I had 3 Athelian women, the clothes on my back, and about 10,000 credits to my name. As soon as the chains fell away, the 3 of them stumbled but caught themselves with surprising grace. They stood in a line before me, regaining their equilibrium. The one with the tattoo stepped forward. She pressed her palm to my forehead, that same gesture from 6 years ago. Kale Meridian, she said, and hearing my own name in her melodic accent sent chills down my spine. You found me, or I found you. The threads of fate wind strangely. You remember, I breathed. The Athelian mind forgets nothing, especially debts. She glanced at her companions, then back at me. You saved us today. I saved you once before. But now I think we are bound by something greater than simple reciprocity. What do you mean? She smiled, and it transformed her entire face. You gave up everything for us. Your wealth, your transport, your future plans. I felt it in your thoughts, the Athelian gift. You expected nothing in return. I owed you my life, and now we owe you ours. She gestured to her companions. This is Lyra, my sister, and Thessa, my cousin. We are the last of the Meridian clan. She paused, her smile turning sad. Or we were, until the slavers took us. The others are scattered to the stars, if they live at all. Meridian clan? I repeated, like my surname? Not a coincidence. 6 years ago, when I saved you, I marked you, not with ink but with intent. You became part of our clan, whether you knew it or not. That's why you recognize the symbol. It's written on your soul as much as my skin. The weight of her words settled over me. I'd spent 6 years looking for her, never knowing she'd already found me, already bound our fates together. What happens now? I asked. She took my hand, turning it over to reveal my wrist. As I watched, the same tattoo that marked her skin began to appear on mine. Faint at first, then growing stronger, the indigo lines emerging as if they'd always been there, just waiting to be revealed. Now, she said, we rebuild our clan. Together, the 4 of us. In Kale Meridian, you are no longer a man without a home. You are Athelian. You're family. You are ours, as we are yours. I looked at the tattoo on my wrist, at the 3 women before me, at the dusty market square that suddenly felt less like a prison and more like a starting point. I'd saved them expecting nothing. Instead, I'd found everything.